Hello. I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to share with you what's been on my mind quite a bit lately. Talking about hydration, I've been reading a little bit about it, and it's got me thinking that a lot of people don't even realize how important it is to get your water in and how easy it can be to do. And I was recently visiting with a couple of clients, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, I'm doing good on my water." And it's like, okay, so are you tracking it? Do you have any idea how much you're really drinking? Oh, well, I'm not really sure. And so I was talking with Mark yesterday, and I was like, "So, how much water did you get in every day?" This is something I ask all the time. And he says, "Well, I think I got a bottle in." I says, "You got a bottle in? 16 ounces?" "Well, yeah." And I was like, "He's got a half a bottle of water sitting in front of him." And I says, "So, did you have one before that one?" "Well, no." "Oh, okay. I've got 8 ounces in." And so our bodies are mostly water, so it's really important that we get hydration in, because what happens when we're dehydrated? When we're dehydrated, we have problems with thinking clearly. We have problems with headaches. We have problems with our vision. We're tired. We're lethargic. Because our bodies are mostly water. And so you get a headache, a lot of times it's because your brain's getting dehydrated. You're having problems with your eye, and everybody talks about dry eye. Well, okay, dry eye, hello, my eyes aren't hydrated. And so hydration comes from the inside first and then goes to the outside. Your outside is a result of being dehydrated. So if your skin is dry, you're dehydrated. And if you're thirsty, it takes your body 2 hours before you feel the signals of thirst. And so when you're thirsty, you've been dehydrated for a long time. So it's really important to get your water in. And a lot of people don't like doing just plain water. Make sure if you're drinking something that has some flavorings in it, that you're not adding sugar. And for those of you that are trying to lose weight, make sure you're not having too many artificial sweeteners either, because our bodies really don't like artificial sweeteners. It will hang on to extra water because it doesn't know what to do with those artificial chemicals. And so drinking plain water is the best. Getting your body started with some water. And also, a little helpful hint that I have learned through a lot of my reading and educating myself about hydration is if you drink colder water, your body has to heat up to process it, and therefore you're going to burn more fat by drinking colder water. And what I do, I've got a million different jugs. I've got several jugs that I don't put anything but water in. And I always start out the morning with 8 ounces of water. I drink my 3 cups of coffee a day. I love my coffee. You have to remember with coffee, if you're putting something into it, you've got to count it as a condiment or what have you. So don't be putting calories in your coffee that you're going to have to figure out how I'm going to burn up them calories, because that's really hard to do. And we don't look at that. We look at proper nutrition. So I've got, actually, I should have set it out before I started on here. I'll show you what I usually use. I'm next to my refrigerator. I normally use this cashew milk. It's only 25 calories for a whole cup. And it only has 1 gram of carbohydrates in it, and it has 0 sugar. So I can actually have a whole cup of that milk, and I only use about 3 tablespoons a day, and count it as a condiment because it's under the listing. And so I count it as like a half a condiment, because I do try to keep track of that, especially when I'm trying to lose weight. It's really important to keep track of what you're doing. My sugar-free syrups, if I put a teaspoon of a sugar-free syrup in there, I count it as a whole condiment. So 1 teaspoon of this doesn't really count, but I count it anyways. And so I can get it in that way. Also, I really like flavorings in my water, and I drink a lot of water, and it's really important if you're drinking a lot of water to put the electrolytes and vitamins back in that your body may be flushing out. And so even though all of my food that I'm eating is balanced, it's got all the vitamins and minerals and everything in it that I need, I still do those extra vitamins. And I start out my morning with one that has vitamin C in it. And It says to mix it with 16 ounces of water. I mix it in my 24-ounce jug because I fill it half full of ice. And then as it melts, it's watered down a little bit, but it's still good. And one of my favorite ones is my B vitamins, and I have a raspberry lemonade that I really love. And I also have one that is a replenish. So if I'm busy, if I'm going for a long walk, or I'm going to go cut firewood like I'm getting ready to do tomorrow, then I will make sure I have lots of my electrolytes that I'm putting back into my body. And so some of the signs of dehydration, like I talked about, was headache, having a dry mouth, dry eyes, dry skin. But also if your urine is really concentrated, if it's got any odor or color to it, that means you're dehydrated. These are the early signs of dehydration. And what happens if you're dehydrated? Your body is going through that water. If it's not getting rid of the water because you're not putting the water in, what's happening? It's recycling dirty water. And just think about it. Your kidneys have all that nasty water that they want to expel, but because you didn't put water in your mouth, it's got to put that yucky stuff back through. And so a lot of the issues with dehydration and with people with problems with their bladder and their kidneys can be avoided simply with proper hydration. So I'm going to encourage you to get your water in. You can set an alarm on your phone. Mine is, I have a water app to keep track. I also used to put a piece of tape on my water bottle, and every time I refilled it, I would put a check mark on it, and at the end of the day, I would just take that off and I'd start again the next day. So make sure you're getting your water in. If you need any helpful hints with that, let me know. So my goal is I eat every 3 hours. That's how I've lost my weight, is by eating regularly, fueling my body. And in between those fuelings, I'm getting in 24 ounces of water. So at the end of the day, now 64 is a recommended minimum. And if you're having health issues, you have to be careful you don't overdo it. And if you do, if you're feeling lightheaded because you've drank too much water, you probably need to put some sodium back in or some other electrolytes. And so be sure to keep a good eye on your body and stay in tune with your body. But my goal is 24 ounces between each fueling for my first 4 fuelings. And so I get in 100 to 120 ounces of water a day consciously. I may sip on water after that. I try to cut off my drinking other than just sipping so I don't get dehydrated in the evening, so I'm not up all night going to the restroom. And so if you need some help with that, you need some advice, want to do a little check-in with, hey, how am I doing on my hydration? Let's talk about it. As far as my clients go, for those of you on plan, I had a couple check-ins that they were a little disappointed in their water intake. Well, I shouldn't say that. They were a little disappointed in what their number on the scale said. And when we visited, we found out that their water intake wasn't where it needed to be. And so what happens, and this is what I really like, and we talk about flushing. And so when you first start drinking a lot of water, you're running to the bathroom a lot. And so people don't want to drink because they got to go to the bathroom. Like I just said, if it isn't coming out, it's getting recycled through those kidneys again. So yeah, you want to be drinking, you want to be going to the bathroom. That's how our bodies are made. That's what they need to do. So when we're in weight loss, when we're in fat burn, our fat cells are full of fat. So as our bodies burn it, that liquid fat's being replaced with water. And what happens is you go a couple of days of putting the water in, you've got your calories balanced out, you're eating good, and you're wondering why you're not losing weight. Well, after a couple of days, your fat cells realize that you're not going to replace the fat, and they'll release the water they were hanging on to. And that's why we call it flushing. And so you will commonly see that as you're going through fat burn, that you may not lose a lot, but next thing you know, you're running to the bathroom all the time. So we lose fat and water through our skin, through our preparation, through breathing, through movement. And so as we're losing fat, we're losing water. So if you're putting more in your body than you're taking out, of course you're going to gain weight. But if you're putting more nutritious food in to where your body is able to expel that fat, you're going to be releasing fat and water, and that's how our bodies are designed. So if you have any questions about it, give me a holler. Hopefully this video was helpful to you, and share it with somebody else that you think needs to know about hydration. And so have a great weekend. Oh, Friday, remember what? Alcohol is not hydration. Alcohol will dehydrate you. It disinfects our insides. And so, and part of the problem with the alcohol too is one drink usually leads to 20 drinks and leads to binge eating and leads to not feeling good. But one of the reasons we get a headache from alcohol, that hangover effect, is because our brains are dehydrated, because the first thing to get dehydrated is our brain. And that's also why it takes so long for us to get the signal that we are thirsty, because our brains get dehydrated first, and it doesn't know to tell our mouths that we need to put something in it. And so hopefully you found this interesting, and I'm going to throw it on my YouTube channel so you can go back and find it easily. And you all have a great weekend, or if you're watching this in replay, whatever day of the week it is, have a great day. Drink up, enjoy. Bye-bye.